What is a foreclosure? What's the process? How to stop it and how to defend it? That's what we're going to talk about. Do you remember the movie Dodgeball where Vince Vaughn was going to lose his gym and it was getting foreclosed upon? Do you remember that feeling he had when he left the tournament, was at the airport, and Lance Armstrong was talking to him, and he couldn't figure out how he was possibly going to get it back? And then he figured it out, and then he made a ton of money. Well, we're not going to make a ton of money, but we are going to help you figure out how to protect your house and defend against the foreclosure.
Actually, I decided to quit. Lance.
Quit? You know, once I was thinking about quitting when I was diagnosed with brain, lung, and testicular cancer all at the same time. But with the love and support of my friends and family, I got back on the bike, and I won the Tour de France 5 times in a row. But I'm sure you have a good reason to quit. So what are you dying from that's keeping you from the finals?
Right now, it feels a little bit like shame.
Well, I guess if a person never quit when the going got tough, they wouldn't have anything to regret for the rest of their life. But good luck to you, Peter. I'm sure this decision won't haunt you forever.
So what does foreclosure mean? So this is interesting. Most people think a mortgage is a loan. It's not. When you buy a house, there are 3 pieces to it. You have the deed, which shows who owns the house. You have the promissory note, which is the actual loan. It's the contract in which you are obliged to pay back. And then you have the mortgage. And the mortgage is actually a property interest that you grant the bank to take back your house if you don't pay the promissory note as you're supposed to. So that's the 3 pieces. And so what a foreclosure actually is when the bank is exercising their property right, the mortgage, to take back the house, the deed, because you breached the promissory note. Now, I know that was a convoluted explanation, but that is technically what a foreclosure is. So that's what it means. They're taking back the house because of a breach of the promissory note. Now, which leads us to the next question. How does a foreclosure work? Here's the foreclosure process. Like servicers, so also you have the bank that loans you the money, and they may hire a servicer to actually transact the loan and to collect your payments. So sometimes you're not paying the bank, you're paying a servicer. So they give you options to keep your house, but just generally here's how it works. You get a pre-foreclosure notice. In this pre-foreclosure notice, it tells you that you're in default, and there's a pre-foreclosure period, and that lasts about 120 days. And then you get a demand letter. And the demand letter basically says, here's what's up, and here's how much time you have to fix this, and if you don't fix this, we're moving forward, right? And typically the way you fix it is you get caught up on all your payments. Now, for most people, if you're behind, you're not going to be able to instantly get caught up. That's understandable. Now, then next comes the fair debt letter. Now, the fair debt letter is the thing that kind of explains everything that you need to know to see about the foreclosure. It's going to talk about the default and how far you're behind. It's going to talk about how much you owe on the house, how behind you are, when's the last time the house was actually paid in full. Paid in full meaning current, not meaning paid off. And if you dispute anything in that fair debt letter, you got 30 days to register your dispute. And it's gonna explain all that to you. Next comes the Arkansas foreclosure packet. Now this is a big packet. It's got a bunch of stuff in it, and they have to send it to you. It's gonna tell you the name of the bank holding the mortgage. It's gonna tell you the physical location of the actual documents. It's gonna have the contact information for the bank. It's going to have a list of any programs available that can help you, get out of the foreclosure process. Now, that being said, a lot of times people go in for mortgage modifications and stuff like that, and these mortgage modifications, they may be in the process of getting a mortgage modification for 6 or 8 months. And just so you know, they don't have to stop the foreclosure process while you're getting that loan modification. So just be aware that as this stuff's coming, even if you're talking to the bank about modifying, this stuff is typically moving forward anyway, so just be aware of that. A copy of the note, which is the promissory note showing exactly what you own, a copy of the mortgage, deed of trust, and a copy of the payment history so you can see exactly what payments were made and when. And then the last thing you're going to get is a notice of default, and that is going to say, okay, here it is, we intend to sell it, and you are going to lose your interest in the property. And that must be mailed to you and filed in the records with the court. And that kind of lines out the foreclosure process and how it works. And of course, once they tell you they're intending to sell it, you will get notice of a sale date, and then, you know, the foreclosure needs to be stopped before that sale date so that you can keep your home. So how do you know your home is in foreclosure? You check your mail.
You're nuts. Here. How am I going to get the mail in there with you fighting it? Take it with you.
And you open the letters you don't want to open. This has literally happened. I had somebody come to me with a year's worth of unopened mail, and they wanted me to stop the foreclosure. And as I started opening the letters and going through the mail, I had to explain to them that the house was already sold and the house was already gone. They were still living there, and the bank was in the process of evicting them. They did not realize that this was not a foreclosure process. This was an eviction process because they no longer own the home. So open your mail, you know, let's get after it fast, okay? Any questions or anything? Comment below, and always like and subscribe. Thanks.